In 2024, all the talk has been surrounding the Kirkland Signature driver. Today we're going to put it against a driver which costs 4 times the price of this club. This is the most expensive driver on the market in 2024. It is of course the PXG 0311 driver. This is fitted into my specs. It has a huge upcharge shaft in it. So just how much difference should we expect to see? We're going to test it both out here on the golf course and we're going to test it in the studio for numbers. I can't wait to show you guys just what differences you might see from a driver, what you can go and pick up next to the tin of beans, the toothpaste, and let's be fair, the toilet roll against a driver that's been fitted by one of the best club fitters potentially in the world. There should be a huge difference, shouldn't there? So stay tuned and let's see exactly what there is. The one thing I will say is this 0311 driver looks, feels and sounds just as good as it performs. That's actually a bit of a necky one down the left hand side, but one of the things I really like about this club is the forgiveness that you do get with it. You're not just paying for ball speed out the middle, you're paying for it out of there. How bad was that? That is terrible. Let's see if we can knock it past it with the Kirkland driver. The Kirkland driver, which doesn't feature too much technology, however we do have a carbon roof on here, we do have adjustability, and we do have an even flow riptide shaft in there. So although this is only going to set you back £150, a proportion of what the PXG driver will, you still have some premium components in there. Surely we can get it past a PXG with a good strike. Amazing how they're very, very similar, both down the left-hand side, both a little bit heely. The Kirkland launched a little bit higher. Let's get down there and let's see where they've finished. Then let's take on some more challenging tee shots here at Woolwich Park Golf Club before we talk numbers around the #1 talked about driver of 2024. Are there any lawsuits coming? Because the iron thing started a bit of a debacle. So as we walk down this first hole, guys, do me a favour, get in the comments below and let me know. First of all, what driver are you using in 2024? Are you in the market for a new one? And if you are in the market for a new one, are you going to go and get fitted for it? Because these drives are head and head down here, one of which was fitted, one of which quite clearly wasn't, because like we said, you pick it up next to the tin of beans or the toilet roll, and the price difference, I'm going to have to work out the price difference. I'll put it on screen now because it is such an upcharged shaft and the PXG driver obviously is quite expensive. If you're serious about your golf, would you spend that money on the driver and not have the Kirkland head cover in the bag? Because I know a lot of people have been saying they wouldn't have a Kirkland head cover in the bag because they feel like they're not taking themselves seriously enough, which I don't really understand, but anyway. And quite interestingly here, the Kirkland driver has taken the lead. That's the Kirkland driver there, just down the left-hand side. This was the PXG driver, and the reason for that is because of how badly I struck the PXG driver. But there is a lesson here. If you're not that good and you're spending a lot of money on your driver, clubs can only be so forgiving. The PXG is certainly the most expensive driver of 2024, but it's also, I think, the most forgiving. You can't beat hitting it out of the middle. That's 1-0 to the Kirkland. Okay, so I feel like we've tested the forgiveness of these two drivers quite nicely in that opening tee shot. But what about how they look? What about how they make you feel? Because for me, the Kirkland, although it's very difficult to get the head cover off, I think it looks quite good. It looks very similar to such of a Titleist TSR2 or Titleist TSI2. That's where I feel that they might come unstuck. TaylorMade have already had a go about the irons. Titleist had a go about the Kirkland ball. I'm sure somebody will have something to say about the Kirkland driver. On top, that carbon crown looks really, really nice. It's a triaxial carbon, so it's a very similar weave. Chris giving it the thumbs up there. And if we have a look at the PXG, I think this is one of the best looking drivers I've personally ever seen. So I've tested this version, I've tested the Tour version. The Tour version is a lot lower spin, as you would imagine. It's very, very differently weighted to this standard version. Depending where you have the weights in your fitting setup for your PXG 0311 Black Ops, this can offer 10k inertia. Now this time last year that didn't mean anything to anyone, but we all know that TaylorMade with their QI10, and we all know that Ping with the G430 Max 10k, that basically means it's the most forgiving ever. But PXG aren't really shouting about that. The carbon on top of this I think is really, really nice. Again, it's a little bit more of a finer weave, very, very shiny, as you can see both of me and Chris in the roof of that. But I really like how they've just kind of spread out on the roof and the top line there, so you can see just how much surface area you have to work with. So if I were to kind of compare these looking down at them both, Two nice looking drivers. If I wasn't a golfer, I don't think I'd be able to say this one's like nearly £1,000 and this one's £150. I think I'd be thinking, you know what, very, very similar. The adjustment hosels are quite similar. Both these heads are 10.5 degree. I've got them both set exactly the same, so we are going to have a fair test here today. Let's go Kirkland, kick things off on here. This is a brute of a par 4. I despise this hole here at Woolly Park Golf Club. It's stroke index 2 somehow, well over 400 yards uphill. We're downwind today though. Let's see if we can just get a nice one up there. I really like the simplicity of the Kirkland. Looking down at it, let's hope for a better one. And it was a better one. That was really nice. Bit of a fade, just moving into the right hand rough, but a much better strike. I've said this time and time again with the Kirkland driver, if you're thinking of a sweet spot for this club, it's there. It's just slightly high out the toe. For me, that drags spin rate down. It maintains the ball speed quite nicely. And if you look at the numbers that we're going to talk about in just a second for these two clubs, you don't have to do that with the PXG. The PXG, you can hit it out the toe, you can hit it out the middle, you can hit it out the heel, just not so much out the heel as I did with that first shot as it performs. And you still generally maintain your ball speed, but your spin rate's a little bit lower as well, and that's what I feel like PXG have done really well. I have no problem saying this. PXG drivers in the past for me have been rubbish. I feel like this Black Ops version might be the best driver of 2024. Just so happens to be one of the most expensive as well. Right, I feel like retribution could be on the cards here. I've hit some really good drives with this today. We've been filming a few videos. And I just want to see that ball flight there. A lovely low peeling fade, starting left, coming back. For me, that's a ball flight I really enjoy playing with. And again, I've not really hit that well. If you do hit it out the middle, this thing can go incredibly well, but so can the Kirkland. Guys, what driver for what price would you be interested in buying in 2024? And is getting hold of this being a problem starting to make this a little bit more desirable? Get in the comments below and let me know. Now let's talk numbers for these two clubs before we finish off on the par 5 and see which one can get us in the best place to get on the green in 2. So having tested both these drivers quite extensively throughout 2024 already, I took them both in the studio just to test them again and see potentially how they could go head to head. From the reviews of both these clubs, the Kirkland and the PXG 0311, the numbers did differ quite a lot when I looked back at my own reviews. Having tested them again, the numbers were fairly similar. I feel like I was probably swinging better on the day that I was testing them both, but realistically, looking at the numbers that you can see here, the PXG smashes it out the park for ball speed. The spin rate's a lot lower and a lot more consistently. To be honest, I was very impressed with the PXG, more so than when I first did my review and first got fitted for it. 278 carry as opposed to 267 carry, and the total run out, I always never really worry about that, but as you can see, quite a big difference. So guys, very interesting numbers there, and for me the big thing, the big elephant in the room is that consistency level with the Kirkland. It can be very, very good, but it can also be very, very bad. We have the PXG here from the shot we just hit up the left-hand side. That's leaving us, 150s there, so not too far into this absolute beast. And the Kirkland is where Chris is stood there. How far difference would you say that is, Chris? 15? 15, obviously a little bit of a weak one to the right as opposed to a slightly better hit still out the heel down the left. Now let's see if we can send one down this par 5, because it's all good and well saying consistency and everything else, but if you hit it out the middle, it has to perform, right? Let's see which one is longest if we try and absolutely send these bad boys down the par 5. Winner takes all. Let's do this. Okay, par 5, winner takes all. Which one is going to do it? I have a feeling if I can get the Black Ops right out of the screws, it can't really be beaten. I have seen like big ball speed gains with this as opposed to the Kirkland. If you do get them both out of the middle, we'll go Kirkland first. We'll set the stall out a bit. We're into the wind now. This is where the Kirkland could primarily struggle because of its high spin rate. If you do like to play in windy conditions, if you play links golf courses, the Kirkland probably isn't going to be for you, because I've always struggled to keep that spin below 2,800. With the PXG, even though it's a really forgiving driver, I can still get that spin around 2,100, 2,200. So quite a big difference. I'm going to try and keep these low because that's the shot that is required. But I'm also going to try and hit them really hard because it's really fun. Kirkland first. I think that's really good, you know. It's down the left side, it's fading. It's not in the fairway, but it doesn't matter. That's not what we're testing in this video. And that was a bit more centered as well. So let's see if the PXG can beat it. How much more distance would you anticipate, or should I say how much more distance would you hope to get buying this as opposed to the Kirkland from Costco? I think you'd want 20, 30 yards. I think that's going to show maybe 2 clubs difference into the green. That's going to help you shoot lower scores. If it's just 5 to 10 yards, you can sort of deal with that for saving £500–600, can't you? Get this down there. I've not had my best swing today actually, but I quite like that for this video. That is an absolute rocket. It's not gone as low as I wanted, but it's the first one I've hit that's really centered, and that's bounding down the right hand side of that fairway. As you can see, we have the Kirkland driver just on the left hand side here in the rough. That's pitched into that mound, so it might be a little bit of a false pretense as to how far it's really gone, but that's golf and that's outside testing. The PXG again a little bit further down there, probably 15 to 20 yards again down the right hand side. This time the PXG was probably a weaker flight. It was a bit higher, it was a bit to the right, but it was one of the first ones I've really got out the middle, whereas the Kirkland was a more low penetrating flight, which is what I was trying to do. So get in the comments below, let us know what do you think. Very, very interesting. I always think if you're going to go and buy something new, you're going to buy a new driver, it's going to be expensive. You're not always going to reap the rewards for that, but it's the same as anything in life. You're going to go and buy a car, you're going to go and buy a watch, you're going to buy a house. How much reward do you really get for spending the money? There's always an option out there that you can do on a budget, and that's what I love about the golf world at the minute. It's open for everybody. See you tomorrow.